You may have noticed as of late that Fox News has gotten a little bit obsessed with Nancy Pelosi, specifically her visit to a hair salon in San Francisco. So now, of course, in the video where she is in the salon, she's not wearing a mask, which is stupid. It's dumb. If you want to criticize her for breaking the mask mandate, that's absolutely fine. That's totally fair, right? And to be fair, this is one of the Fox News segments where they're actually going to be, I mean, I'm going to kind of agree with it. Now, that said, right, it kind of diminishes real criticism when your network has been extremely partisan about masks, for example, downplaying the use of and need of masks, as well as the dangerousness of the virus as well. But nonetheless, I want to go because this is actually a pretty good discussion that happened, which is pretty rare on Fox News, and it involves Sandra Smith. Now, Sandra Smith's actually been known for asking tough questions of Trump cabinet members, and so she's actually going to have a discussion with Democratic strategist Zach Friend. And look, they're both actually going to make some pretty good points. So let's start out with the first clip.
Well, I think that in a lot of respects, it's a he said, she said. It's kind of unfortunate, though. I mean, I don't think this is I don't think Nancy Pelosi's hair, Sandra, is the most pressing issue in America right now.
She said. Which part? We've got video of her not wearing a mask inside a salon.
Yes. Yes, no, I understand that. But the fact that the state regulations in San Francisco say that you can have indoor salons with conditions right now. So when she contacted the salon, she was told that it was one person at a time. That was backed up by the stylist. And so she followed that. With that said, though, do I think she's owed an apology? I don't think she's owed an apology. I think that realistically, it's just not the most important issue that's facing America right now with unemployment and a number of other issues. I just don't think Nancy Pelosi's hair is really the topic du jour.
Look, I pretty much agree with all of that, right? So, look, he's right about the conditions. I think she should have wore a mask, and he agrees that she would have should have wore a mask. Just wear the mask. Don't be stupid. just wear the freaking mask. As for the he said, she said comment, that's where I disagree with Friend. The video does speak for itself. Overall, though, yeah, there are bigger things to talk about. But see, look, and the reason that I'm talking about this is because it actually is a decent example of a good conversation, as well as pointing out that Fox News seems to be having like a chubby over this, over this video, because they continue to play it over and over again and to bring people on to have discussions about it. And so this guy brings that up. And so it's a bit of hypocrisy, but again, there's glass houses, right? And Fox News lives in a glass house, even when there's actual good, legitimate criticism of Nancy Pelosi, as I'm also pointing out, because why did she do this? It was so incredibly dumb. But anyway, so there's more video here. Let's go to the next one as they continue this discussion.
Don't you really wonder and worry about the political implications of this double standard? Mask up, wear your mask, and then she just very plainly walked through a salon with people around her when it very clearly stipulates, you apparently say you read the code as well, that you must wear a mask in a public place even when no one's present.
No, I agree with that, Sandra. I mean, I think unequivocally we have to keep masks on indoors. I think California's state guidelines are very clear on that. And I think San Francisco County and city guidelines are very clear on that. And I think that is something that should be acknowledged by the speaker, that a mask should have been worn indoors. What I'm saying is that the state has been modifying guidelines on a pretty regular basis. And last Friday, the governor had a press conference outlining new guidelines for salons, which included this ability for indoor operations with conditions across the state. There's no question there's a lot of confusion county by county. But again, I just don't think that the haircut really is the biggest issue facing America.
And I think that's the problem. She should know the rules.
All right, again, Friend, has an explanation. He's like, look, yeah, you can do that according to these rules, and these rules are ever changing. And that's absolutely true, right? And then Sandra Smith is also like, yeah, but she's Speaker of the House. Maybe this is a bad look. And it's true. And look, anybody who's not being a partisan hack, and I understand that, like, we're in hyper partisan times, right? So it's really easy to just be like picking one side. No, they owe her an apology. I don't think they do. No, they set me up. Yeah, not necessarily. I mean, yeah, maybe she was kind of mad. The owner of this, right? And maybe she was a little bit partisan, but nonetheless, we do live in a hyper-partisan country, and so that does play into a lot of this. But at the same time, I don't think criticizing her for her not wearing a mask and for her using, I think, her position and her wealth in order to do some things that regular Americans really are discouraged from doing right now is a terrible look. Is a terrible look. And so, yeah. And the thing is, how did Nancy Pelosi not believe that, okay, maybe you shouldn't. All right. To be fair, I don't think anybody expects their hair salon to go and release footage to Fox News. So let's be fair about that, right? But now that it's out there, to not go and say, oh, you know what? Yeah, I didn't wear a mask and that was bad. You should all wear your masks. She instead gets very indignant, right? And then, of course, that helps Republicans because Fox News can sit there and fillet themselves about this, over this footage. And as some people do point out, hey, it is difficult to cut hair when somebody's wearing a mask. I also understand that. And so that's another fair criticism as well. And so, I mean, it's a conversation which, again, takes very partisan turns. And it's one of those things where I think that, it just generally kind of be like the rest of us. Some of us have went without haircuts, present company excluded, because I don't go to a barber shop. I just shave my head. But there's a lot of us who don't get haircuts, who haven't had a haircut in months because of the coronavirus shutdowns. And so for Pelosi, it's like, come on, dude, really? Come on. That said, right, there are more important issues. And again, he brings this up. I mean, what? Nearly 190,000 Americans are dead. 8.3 million people can't afford to pay their bills this month. 80,000 businesses have closed for good between March and July. Why is Fox News constantly talking about this? About Nancy Pelosi's hair appointment? You know why? It's because it's it's partisan red meat. That's what it's all about. So now I've got one more video here. And again, I think this was part of Friend, like, being, and I really do think that he's like not trying to be part. I think he actually is being like honest with his answers, and trying to have a conversation in good faith. And I also do believe that Sandra Smith is also trying to have a conversation in good faith. And so let's look at that last video, and you guys can determine that for yourself.
Zach, I appreciate your acknowledgement that you do believe, she should have been wearing a mask. But it's not that easy. I mean, there's livelihoods at stake. People are losing their businesses. Obviously, other people have been playing by the rules. They wish they could go into the salon too, I'm sure. But she's living by different rules, and she didn't own up to it. In fact, she pointed fingers at the salon owner and accused her of a setup.
Well, again, there's two things here, though. And I mean, did the press secretary, by the way, comment on the RNC having 1,500 unmasked people outside of the White House the other day, hugging, kissing, and shaking hands for the RNC convention? I mean, realistically, Sandra, we know that this issue is much broader than this one individual situation. But I agree with you. I just also think, though, that it just isn't the most important issue. I don't think that we should be focusing this much time on television talking about this when we should be talking about coronavirus and a number of the other issues impacting Americans.
I think people hear you, and I think that they see her defense of it rather than acknowledgement of something she did wrong, a mistake, something. They see excuses, and I don't know if the story goes away.
All right, so again, that last part, I can see the point there. Again, Sandra Smith, sort of reasonable for a Fox host, but it is kind of weird. So here's what I think about this entire thing, right? I think Nancy Pelosi, yeah, I'm not a fan of her. Um, I think that, I think she probably did make a mistake, at least on her like response to it. Um, I don't think she should be demanding an apology, but again, by not, by basically demanding that apology, she gave a lot of ammo to the right wing, and so the right wing takes it, they use it. Of course, they want to ignore important issues. Okay, we know that, right? And they also ignore their own hypocrisy in COVID-19, right? Because again, for the longest time, they've downplayed the virus. They brought on people who are anti-maskers. And so I get that, right? And so I can't believe I'm saying this, but there's actually a point to be made on both sides. It's weird. It's weird. Okay. And look, Friend brings up something that's really important there. The fact that nobody had anything to say about the RNC bringing in, again, those 1,500 people who didn't wear masks. That's one of those things. And now they're making hay about Nancy Pelosi not making a mask. It's ridiculous, or not wearing one. And so most of these people understand that are making the biggest noise about Pelosi. They're not doing it because they're concerned about the health of the people around her. They want to score cheap political points. And maybe that dresser owner, whatever, hair salon owner, maybe also fits into that camp. Maybe she's mad about the coronavirus lockdown, which, look, a lot of us are. A lot of us absolutely are. And so I understand. But also understand that anger is getting turned into political points and feeds into the idea that the COVID-19 is a hoax. And it's just not. It's not a hoax. It is a problem, right? And I do think that everybody needs to do their part. And again, Yas Queen should have known that this was something like this could happen. And I guess maybe that's really unfair of me to say, because I guess you don't know if somebody's going to release tapes, but you're the Speaker of the House, so maybe you should be a little bit more paranoid. At least this, if anybody could get one lesson from this, it's that you should be paranoid as hell if you're an elected official, because you don't know like what they're going to try to use against you. And so that said, this is a total mess.